Hi everyone, welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. My name is Scott, also known as Cineram. I do the Thursday videos on this channel, and these are empty pizza boxes. Just thought I'd share that. So, last week, Suicide Squad came out, and this is like the fourth weekend in a row that there's been a really big movie coming out that I've been excited to see. There was Ghostbusters, there was Star Trek Beyond, Jason Bourne, and now Suicide Squad. And although I haven't been like the biggest fan of the new DC movies that have been coming out, I was pretty jacked for this one, largely because of the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer. I thought, David Ayer, more reliable of a director than Zack Snyder, so that's a bonus right there. Good cast. Let's see how it is. For a little bit of background, I've seen maybe half of the movies David Ayer has directed. I've seen Training Day, which he wrote the screenplay for, probably his most acclaimed film. I've seen Dark Blue with Kurt Russell. I've seen Fury with Brad Pitt. I saw Sabotage with Arnold Schwarzenegger and a few other people in it, but I have not seen Harsh Times with Christian Bale. And there's at least one other movie that he directed that I haven't seen, and I just am blanking on the title right now. So, all in all, positive experiences with him. So I was looking forward to this, and there's been a lot of talk about, how DC or the Warner Brothers studio meddled with the movie before it was released, and it's really hard for me to take that into account because I can't see any of those deleted scenes. I don't know what the other versions of the movie were. All I know is what the movie was that's showing in the theater right now. I have a big problem with it. Aside from just the general confusion as to the rules by which this world operates. You've got a villain who is basically a 6,000-year-old witch, and she can kind of sort of be controlled, but maybe not, and she's got this heart which exists outside her body, like Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean, and that you can hurt her by damaging it or something like that. But how does that work exactly? What are the rules? Don't know. It's all really, really unclear. Basically the plot, if you're not already aware, and you probably are, you have these DC characters who are bad guys that have been corralled and imprisoned, and this character named Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, who works for the U.S. government, wants to use them to quell something bad happening, something that the ordinary, armed forces can't handle because it's too superpower. They look at Superman and they go, wow, this guy can do so many amazing things, where if the next guy comes along and is a bad person and he can, destroy as much as Superman does, kind of like Zod. So how do we deal with that if we don't have Superman to rely on? And so they say, well, how about these guys with all these special abilities? Will Smith plays a character who's like an expert marksman. He is just like, he can like hit targets effortlessly. You've got Harley Quinn, who is basically like the psychopathic ex-psychiatrist, who is part of the Joker's gang and kind of sort of his girlfriend. You've got the Jai Courtney character, who has really good with boomerangs. He's just very, very temperamental. You've got Killer Croc, who is like a vicious kind of animal, part man character. A few other guys as well, but they're not as significant. Those are like the main ones. Will Smith and Margot Robbie get like the lion's share of the screen time of the Suicide Squad because they're the most prominent actors, I guess you could say, or the characters, are the most. I'm not sure about Deadshot. I mean, I never really heard about Deadshot until this movie. I think probably one of the reasons why he's so prominent is because Will Smith is playing him. When they got him to play the role, that kind of juiced the character up. I mean, that's my estimation anyway. So they have character beats that the other ones really don't. Now, the other member of the squad, unofficially, is Rick Flagg, who's like this super special forces guy, one of the most skilled operators in covert ops. He's very, very good at what he does. So Amanda Waller recruits him to lead the team, but she also sort of plays a psychological mind game with him. She wants to control this other character, played by Cara Delevingne, who is an architect who, on a dig, accidentally got infected and possessed by the 6,000-year-old witch called the Enchantress. And the Enchantress has all kinds of magical abilities that Amanda Waller wants to use, and so she sort of plays a game whereby she assigns Rick Flagg to be her personal bodyguard, to watch over her, and sort of makes them fall in love with each other. Somehow she's able to predict that they'll fall in love with each other, and thusly she'll be able to control the Enchantress through Rick Flagg, because Rick Flagg will ask her to do things and she'll do them because she's in love with him, or something like that. It's all really, really unclear. You know, it's really confusing how that works exactly, but apparently it does, because they get the Enchantress on her side for a while. The problem comes, of course, when the Enchantress decides, hey, I'm not going to do what Rick Flagg and these other people want. I'm just going to, you know, go and take over the world for myself. So she essentially becomes the villain. She escapes from the watch of Rick Flagg and goes out and tries to resurrect her also 6,000-year-old brother who has magical abilities, so they can, you know, share power and take over the world. And that's when Amanda Waller says, okay, we need to get the Suicide Squad together, or as they say, it's like, I don't know, Operation X or something. I can't remember what the name of it is, but, you know, they might as well just call it the Suicide Squad, because the whole idea is these guys are criminals, and if they get them to try and stop something bad from happening and they fail and things get even worse, they can just blame it on them or something like that. I don't see how that helps, really, you know. Give the guys the backup that they need. I don't know. They have this whole team of SWAT guys, or Special Forces guys, along with them. So, you know, half the movie is just them basically fighting off the minions of the Enchantress. You know, these people that have been occupying this city that have been forcibly turned into minions, and they just, like, slash them, and they shoot them in the head. They're like zombies, really. They shoot them in the head, they cut the tops of their heads off, they immediately disintegrate. No dead bodies anywhere, you know, no guilt about killing innocent people that were victims or anything like that. So that's kind of nasty. And eventually, as it turns out, they realize that the Enchantress is planning something really big, involving this big mega laser ray or something like that, some sort of supernatural death ray that, like, will shoot up in the sky and then, like, shoot down amongst the other parts of the planet and start destroying things and killing people, so they have to stop her. That's basically the plot of the movie. Oh, I almost forgot. Jared Leto plays the Joker. I think. I don't know what he's playing exactly. I mean, he's supposed to be the Joker, but he's this different version of the Joker that is like a gang leader. He's kind of like the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker from the original Batman movie from 1989, in which he's basically like, he's got his henchmen, and he's like a former gangster who's now, like, you know, even more sociopathic or whatever, and is just causing all kinds of destruction. This Jared Leto version didn't work for me at all. Not to say anything bad against Jared Leto as an actor, but the character just isn't there enough to really make any kind of an impression. He looks very striking. He's got lots of body art. All the characters in this movie have lots of body art, it seems. This is the most tattooed cast I've ever seen, aside from movies about biker gangs. Everybody seems to have body art in this movie except for Viola Davis. But he has only a small number of scenes in which you see him with Harley Quinn. He doesn't really have anything to do with the Enchantress. He's just basically there to interfere with what Suicide Squad is doing and try and get Harley Quinn away from the other, from the rest of the team. There's this whole plot about how each of them has like a small bomb implanted in their neck, and if they disobey, if they try to escape, boom, they just blow their heads off. And so the Joker's trying to figure out a way to get her away from him. The problem is that you've got these scenes in which we find out how Harley Quinn, who was originally this prison psychiatrist who was evaluating the Joker, she basically falls under a spell and becomes his girlfriend and is willing to do anything for him, including die or slash her own throat or anything like that. And the way that she gets like this is through like physical and psychological abuse. He electroshocks her head a bunch of times in a flashback, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, why are we rooting for Harley Quinn to get rescued by the Joker if he is her abuser? She's not his girlfriend, she's his victim, and there is very little to contradict that in the film itself. There may be more in extra scenes, but like I said, I can't judge the movie based on scenes that aren't in the movie, that got cut, that got changed, what have you. I would have thought it would have been more justifiable anyway to have the character that Margot Robbie is playing, the psychiatrist, have this secret sadistic side, this side that enjoys seeing people in pain. And the Joker recognizes this in her and sort of brings her out and says, hey, you don't have to hide it anymore with me, you know, I mean, you're just like me, we should team up, you know, and she'd be like, yeah, enough of this, you know, proper life crap with me, you know, making a living as a psychiatrist and like hiding who I really am. I want to be out there and be free and just be as crazy and wild as I want to be, but that didn't happen in this movie. In this movie, she's a person who resists him, who doesn't want to be a part of him, and he basically tortures her into falling in love with him, which is nuts, okay? Because the movie treats this like a good thing. The movie is like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Harley Quinn got away from the Suicide Squad and ended up with a Joker because she's in love with him? I'm just like, no, that's not a good idea. Honestly, that's terrible. That's just terrible. And if the future movies in this series don't address that, then I'm going to be very, very disappointed because, you know, basically, you know, it's just a terrible situation. You know, when you stand back and look at it and go, Harley Quinn, you know, it would be better on her own. She would be better with this new group of people that she's made friends with now, including Will Smith and all those guys, because she's more independent that way. She's part of a team. She's not subservient to anyone except the bad guys. The bad guys in this movie are essentially the government people that are keeping them in line. But you know, ending up with a Joker is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. And the movie doesn't treat it that way. She's like, gee, wouldn't it be awesome, you know, if Harley Quinn escaped and got back together with the Joker? I'm like, no, that would not be a good thing. So yeah, that's my principal complaint about the movie. I have to say that most of the acting in this is really good. I like Will Smith a lot in this part, although a lot of the dialogue is really kind of stupid. They keep saying over and over again, remember, we're the bad guys. I'm like, I got it, thank you. Yeah, but Jared Leto, you know, Viola Davis, she's really good. She's very cold-hearted, and that was really good. Joel Kinnaman plays Rick Flagg. I know him basically from the RoboCop remake, and he also plays Kevin Spacey's political opponent on House of Cards. In the 4th season, he's basically the Republican running against him for the presidency. I really like him a lot in that show. One of the best scenes on that show involves the two of them just sort of sitting in a room by themselves and talking about how much acting they have to do for the cameras and the news and everything like that. Anyway, he's Rick Flagg and he's really good. Cara Delevingne, she's not really in it all that much. Most of her part seems to consist of special effects and crazy costumes. I like Jai Courtney as, I think his name is Boomerang, Captain Boomerang or something like that. He's got a couple boomerangs, but mostly he's just this wild guy who likes punching people. He was really fun. He had a lot of fun moments, and so did Margot Robbie, and a lot of the other cast I liked as well. Adam Beach has an incredibly small part in this movie. He's supposed to be part of the squad, but they introduce him only at the point in which they actually are sent out on the mission. He plays a character named Slipknot, and he's in the movie very, very briefly. I'm like, why do they even put this guy in it? Oh, another guy in the movie is El Diablo, the guy who's got tattoos all over his face and shoots fire out of his hands. He was a good character. I liked him a lot. Yeah, if they make another Suicide Squad movie, I'll be interested to see some of those characters, but not the Joker. Not unless they address this whole abuse angle. You know, that would just be terrible. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker, is just because I was waiting for that time for Harley Quinn to say, you know what, I don't need you, okay? You know, and I'm good on my own. I'm good with these guys here. These are my gang right here, and you can just go screw yourself. The flashbacks involving the two of them just didn't work for me at all. I didn't feel like there was any chemistry between them. It was just like those scenes were dead in the water, and it could be just me, you know, putting that on the scene right there, you know, on the situation, going, no, this is bad, these two should not be together, he's abused her, she's, you know, a victim, a victim of psychological abuse, kind of like the Sophie Marceau character in The World Is Not Enough. She's not really a villain, she was psychologically tortured and becoming a villain by Robert Carlyle. That's one of the reasons why I like that movie, is because she's not really a villain, she's more of a victim, and that's kind of why Bond is reluctant to act against her. Anyway, enough about that. So yeah, can't really recommend the movie. There might be another version of the movie, like Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, in which there's more scenes where they rearrange it and then put it out again, you know, on Blu-ray and say, oh no, this is like the real version of the movie, you know. I wish I could, you know, evaluate Dawn of Justice based on the longer version, but I haven't seen it. You know, I've only seen the theatrical version. And so the nonsense that movie was isn't remedied for me by the extended version because, you know, I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to see it, but, you know, I just can't. Anyway, so yeah, disappointment. Very disappointed. And yeah, DC is just getting beaten to a pulp by Marvel as far as the quality of their movies. I'm hopeful for Wonder Woman. You know, Wonder Woman has Patty Jenkins directing. I'm hoping that Warner Brothers does not mess with the movie, does not, you know, bring in all kinds of extra people to edit the film, and take it out of her control because, you know, there needs to be some consistency with making these movies where they don't, you know, just like screw with it at the last minute and go, okay, here it is. There are some flash frames in Suicide Squad in which you have all these character stats, but they're on there so briefly you can't read any of them. You have to wait for the Blu-ray to read them so you can pause the image and go, okay, let me read all the funny stuff that they wrote about the character in these 2 seconds of screen time. Yeah, not a winner. Anyway, yeah, so that's my review of Suicide Squad. Can't recommend it. Made a ton of money its opening weekend. Good for them. You know, a little disappointing that so many people, including myself, you know, fell for the marketing and went to see it like opening weekend, because that's what I did. I went on like the first screening on Friday at like 10 a.m. and the theater was packed. A Friday at 10 a.m. screening was packed, and I'm just like, wow, a lot of people are excited to see this. Hopefully, most people found it amusing. Yeah, but can't recommend it. Sorry. Anyway, that's my review. Thanks very much for watching. I will have a new one, of course, next week, and hopefully the other guys on the channel will be back soon. We've gotten lots of new likes on our Facebook page, so thank you very much. We've got lots of new visitors. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't visited before, please check the link below. And we're open to to focus on new themes throughout the week. If you want us to focus on a particular actor, director, actress, genre, film series, what have you, let us know. We'd like to hear from you. Thank you very much. See you again real soon. Bye-bye.